Yeah, I asked Oscar the same question.
Uh-huh.
When he moves, you can see that it's a picture behind him.
Right. Now that I figured, I know he's not at a show right now.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. No, I'm in my way to Bayou City.
Right. Did you get a little respite?
No, you know what? Yes and no. Uh, I was really tired. I didn't realize how bad it was, and I did six installation last week,
Oh.
and I also took care of some things for my mom.
Yeah.
Nothing else. And then I have some. It was so bad that work-wise, I told my I gave it the keys to close the house because I couldn't stay waiting for him to finish. So he cleaned my place. Too, and he still was there clean. It was really bad. So it's the best $200 I ever spent in my life.
The what?
The best $200 I ever spent in my life.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right.
You know, because when I came in, I had to vacuum because I got cat puke in the floor.
Hey.
So I did a quick vacuum, nothing special, just clean up here, just a little cleaning. But it needed to be cleaned really well, so I'm glad that he came and did it.
Right.
So now I got him coming every 2 weeks doing that. And I don't have to be there for him to do it, so it's a lot more easier for me.
Right. But you need a day. You need a day to just relax. I mean, it's a lot. All that.
I
the
didn't
driving.
have a date. Yeah, I really didn't have a date to do that really because
right.
I take some stuff out of the van.
Do you find the long drives are relaxing?
It depends, if I'm not in a rush going home, it's usually relaxing. But it was really hard the last going back. I got hit with the snow in the way off.
Oh, that's awful.
So it was not like it was just the last one across Indiana, but it never went bad. A little bit tense about it, and then I really didn't rest enough. When I was in Florida, I didn't, I stay a lot in the van, which is fine, but the van is not for me to stay that long in. So next year I got the trailer coming down with me.
Right.
And I just go to park it down there. Steve was wondering why I was a little bit because I put it there's some things that I didn't like about the trip. And I feel like, things that's like, I don't want to be asking favors for people to stay, especially when you stay that long.
Right. I remember you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to be in my own place and don't have to not to walk in eggshells for anybody. I just want to do myself and forget about,
Right.
And be comfortable. It's just like I told Steve that it got so bad that I was wearing pants all the time, and then by the last 3 weeks I was just sleeping in underwear because it was like I want to be comfortable.
Right.
Sleeping in the van.
Yeah. It's also hard to. Yeah, it's also hard to socialize so much after doing shows. Like it gets to be probably, I mean, even if it's with artists, still there's a point where you just need to be alone, I would imagine.
I but you know, Monday, you finish the show, you go Monday, and I think this is what I was telling Steve. It's like you go Monday, you get back to the campground, you place all the orders, but you don't have, because I stay in the van, knowing it's not a cool place, I don't have a place to relax. I need to stay awake for all day long, and then at night I finally can go to sleep. That's what I was going to bed almost every day at 8 o'clock in the morning and waking up at 5 o'clock the next day. Because I'm super tired, but I never felt comfortable. I definitely don't think it's a good idea to, you know, it's one thing doing it for the weekend.
Sure.
And another thing doing it for like the whole week. It's a big difference.
Right.
So I would see. But it was overall was a good experience. I really enjoyed the time down there. I got to see a little bit more, but you know, the quality of artists down there in general, other than Coconut Grove, Boca Raton, that was the only two shows that I really saw really good quality. I think the people don't come to, you know, see. I think Gasparilla, you get really good quality artists because they're going after the money, the prize award money. And then with the park, those are only good 4 shows over there.
Right. Oh yeah, I saw the prize. I saw the prize money at Winter Park. Wow. Like the first prize won $12,000.
Yeah.
That's what it's up to now.
Yeah.
That's what I saw online. That's.
I think that Gasparilla is still 18 or 19. So.
Wow. No idea.
Instead of giving $12,000, why don't they just give everybody a free booth?
I know, but you know.
I'm guessing that it comes from a sponsor and that
Of course.
Right. And so that's what they want it for, probably. The sponsor probably gets to dictate.
Can you imagine sponsoring the whole show? Not just
Well,
first prize?
that's what sponsors do. They underwrite the show. That's where directors should be directing all their attention to get money. The booth fee is only 10% of the total cost.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice to have subsidized booth fees, you know, and you know, I think it's okay, you know, not to have them free because then people might cancel easily, you know, and you know, you have to have something in the game.
Actually, $12,000 is only 24 booths.
Right. But I mean, I don't know what booths are there. But it would be nice if booths, you know, were less, you know, were $500 or less.
They should be paying us. We shouldn't be paying for a booth fee. They should be paying us. We're the entertainment. We generate all the income for the area for that weekend. And no matter how much they whine and complain, every little podunk town has an art fair because it makes them money.
Well, you know, it only makes them money if they're charging an entry and then charging a booth fee, right?
No,
I mean,
no, that's not what I'm saying.
No, the money gets spent in the art.
I'm talking about the restaurants. I'm talking about all the money generated that goes to sales tax and taxes that the state ends up collecting in the city.
I see.
And all the businesses around there, it's like a promotion. All on art fairs is a promotion. And it, you know, a lot of these business owners don't know what they're doing. So because they should be embracing this. Here, you got all these people coming down, you know, give them something, to attract them into your business. They might come back sooner or later, you know, a small percentage would.
Yeah. So were you doing a show recently? Barry?
Who, me?
Yeah. Are you,
I
are you,
left Florida after Coconut Grove, and then
ah, oh, okay.
I did Bonnie's thing, and
All right.
actually I didn't have it for the first time. I thought I did not belong there at all because it was really a nickel and dime event, and I didn't have anything under $100, so
Mhm,
um, I just did a token amount.
mhm.
You know, I mean, I needed my junk from my studio. It really was a garage sale. In the past, they sort of promoted it as, well, not necessarily a garage sale, but just, good work, but you charge less.
Right. I like to say, like work from the archives. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just you've moved on as an artist, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because I'm going to take a hammer to all this stuff that's in my way.
Uh-huh.
Might as well get a few dollars out of it. But when I do it, I'm coming from Florida. I don't want to take the stuff with me and then turn around and, because then I have to unload it every time I
Of
unload
course.
the van. So I
Yeah.
never have it. So I'll just stay in Florida next year.
Hmm.
Or go home first.
Well, if I could go home first, that'd be great, but I can't do that. Steve Uren actually came up and did the show and then turned around and drove back to Florida. In theory, I've always kind of thought that would be a good thing, but in reality, as soon as I got up north, I'm going, there's no way I'm driving back down to Florida.
Yeah, it's a haul from anywhere.
Weren't you
But-
going to move too?
Who?
Barry, weren't you going to move?
Who?
Barry,
What?
Oh, were you
weren't
gonna
going
move?
to move?
Oh, well, I don't know yet.
Oh,
Somewhere I can move.
Where do you want to
So
move to?
anywhere,
Don't move to Florida.
anywhere where I
Sorry.
can get I need a decent deal to be able to move.
Right.
You probably could have brought a couple of boxes of stuff and dropped it off at a friend's house on your way to Florida.
I know. I could have,
What?
but I didn't.
Why do you want to move?
Well, I don't want to get into it, but I might
Okay,
have
I
to move.
understand.
I might
Oh,
have to
oh,
move, but I'm tired of being in like, it's like 60 days of doom and gloom of gray weather. And
right.
plus it's
Well,
northern, it's way up there,
mhm.
can't take I just can't take the snow anymore.
Yeah. Well, I don't
And
know
they-
if Albuquerque is for you, but Albuquerque is pretty affordable and there's a lot of artists.
Yeah.
go check it out.
I mean, Santa Fe is less affordable, but it's I would say it's a good place to be a working artist. They artists here it's like one of the big industries. There's
Yeah.
there's the state because it's a capital city, and then there's the art. I mean, it's the third largest art market in the country outside New York and LA.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice if I wouldn't have to go anywhere.
Well, I mean, I travel to do shows, but a lot of my customers from other parts of the country come through town, and I have a showroom. So, I get a call and they come in and it's a really nice way to make a sale. But I've been here not even 2 years, so but it's something I'm building up. I used to have a showroom in Berkeley also, and but I don't know that there's any good shows here except for like this artist market that I do, but
Well, I don't
that
care about
also,
shows.
yeah.
Hey, if I never did another show, I would be fine. It'd be fine.
Mhm.
Actually, I don't want to do anything. I just want to hang around.
And what?
Oh,
Watch Westerns on TV.
More like sci-fi and baseball. Hey, Oscar, you've been watching the baseball playoffs?
No, I don't have no time. I don't have a live.
Well, tonight's the finals.
I'm
United
not going to be
States
able
and
to see it.
US and Japan.
So Japan is going to win.
Well, maybe. They have great players. They were outplayed yesterday until the eighth and ninth inning, and then they just beat Mexico. They have a 21-year-old pitcher that they're already saying he's like the best pitcher in the world. And then they have Soji Otani, who's really great. It was fun to see all these players, that are really, really good. I didn't really know too many players from other teams, but I do now. And it was great. Pitching was great, hitting was great, defense was fantastic. For all you baseball fanatics. Well, I know there's only one more besides me. It's Oscar. His team is the Cincinnati Reds. The two worst
not
teams.
not the Cubs.
No, not the Cubs.
Wow.
And of course, last year the two worst teams were Cincinnati and Detroit. So we can only get better, right, Oscar?
Well, I guess. I hope so. It can always get worse.
I don't know about that.
They can go and lose 162 games.
In fact, if I was in Florida, I'd go down to Miami and go try and go see the games. Although they're sold out, but there's probably people on the street selling scalper tickets.
Isn't there a place near Orlando where they do spring training?
Yeah, they're everywhere in Florida. Pick a city.
Eric went to one in Dunedin, actually.
Yeah.
And
Is that the Phillies, I think?
And he took a photograph of some, I guess, well-known baseball player also. I'd have to ask him. I don't know because I was teaching, so I wasn't there.
I think it's the Red Sox facilities off of Daniels Parkway in Fort Myers. And the Yankees are in Tampa. Detroit's in Lakeland. It's called the Grapefruit League.
Oh.
San Luis is in Jupiter.
Yeah, right. Yeah. St. Louis is in Jupiter.
Yeah.
The show used to be right next to the facility, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So to answer a question, my next show is Fort Worth.
Oh, okay.
Except I have no motivation to make any pieces. I forced myself to do something, but I'm getting to the point where I really have to start doing it every day.
Right, in order to
have something. For
the summer.
Right.
Summer. We're only talking about April.
Right. But after April comes the northern shows.
I'm not doing anything till July after that, unless I pick up a bottom feeder show.
Well, I was supposed to do the artist market this Saturday, my first one. It starts in March, but they keep canceling because the weather has been, snowy and really cold, and so I'm very disappointed. I was looking forward to having the opportunity to maybe sell something.
An email with
Yeah.
It's
Well, you don't.
it's been a very long winter this year for some reason.
Winter,
Somebody's not-
what is that?
Somebody is talking to someone else and not muted.
Yeah, here.
So yeah, winter. I mean, it already was 60 degrees. I went hiking 2 weeks ago, and today's snowing, and so it's usually this is a very very sunny place, and it's been gloomy, but I'm getting a lot of work done.
More is heading your way.
I know.
We're getting it now.
Hmm.
We get it every
as
other
long-
day.
Right. But that's normal where you are, Barry.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Here, generally sunny most of the time. And when the sun is out, I mean, it could feel warm, even in the 30s, but yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm kind of sick of it, but oh well.
I do much better when it's sunny out.
It's spring
Mhm.
already.
Not here.
Well,
It was the blue jay. It was the blue. Sorry.
this is our local spring here during the brief periods between rainstorms. And the Borrego Desert.
Yes. I'm sure there's going to be a super bloom this year.
Yeah, we've had them already.
I just hope that the snow doesn't melt so fast.
Well, people couldn't get to their ski reservations because the roads were so snowed in, they couldn't get up there. And
Right.
the snow was high enough to cover the lifts.
Oh my God. Wow. Wow. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, mammoth.
Hopefully it will replenish the water table somewhat.
Right.
Somewhat, but they're having problem with infrastructure, and that stuff's so old that it's falling apart because of the flooding.
Oh.
And also we're getting sinkholes and stuff.
Mhm.
One very busy freeway is shut down because there's sinkholes on both sides of it.
Oh, geez.
They're major ones.
It's only going to get
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
According to scientists, 20, 30 years from now, it's going to get gradually worse.
And I don't know if it's going to be as long as 20 years from now, though. Seems like it's, pretty much here. I mean, last year, New Mexico had the worst fire in the state's history ever.
Mhm.
And then it rained after the fires were put out. I mean, the rain helped, but and then this year we're getting a ton of precipitation, which is great, but it's
Running off.
too cold. I mean, on the other hand, just over the mountain, like up in Denver, boy, they're getting a lot of snow. For us, it snows and then it looks like it didn't snow, so we don't even have to shovel. So I hate the cold. But yeah, hopefully the snow will stay around for a while and not melt too quickly.
Mm.
But
Well, that's why I go to
Florida.
Florida. 80 degrees and sunny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we hit
Alex,
80 last week. but, it's, under 60 today.
Right. Yeah, we had it was last week like high 50s, low 60s. It was just perfect weather for about 2 weeks until this came back. Well, this is from California, so.
It's from Hawaii.
Oh, from Hawaii.
Yes,
Yeah.
atmospheric rivers.
Mm-hmm. So does anyone have any art show gossip?
I'm waiting to. I hope that tomorrow doesn't rain because I would like to have the tent out by tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and then I need to see the weather to decide if I'm going to get an hotel or not.
Oh.
Because you kind of camp in the show area,
Mm-hmm.
so see what is around there, and then I decide if I stay in the van or not.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. And I didn't
Where-
get a spot on it either, so I'm a little worrisome. But it's fine.
Where are you, Oscar?
Me, I'm in my way to Houston.
Oh, that's right. You went to Texas.
I was home for 1 week, no life whatsoever, and now my way to Houston.
Mm-hmm. And when is Fort Worth? Is that at the end?
It's
No, it's
it
not.
starts the 20th, April 20th is the first day.
Ah, okay.
Thing is 3 weeks from now.
4 weeks, 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Oh, so I got it's 2 weeks off, then Dogwood, and then La Fiesta. Same weekend in Fort Worth. So, looking forward to that. And maybe South Lake. Then I come home, rest for a week, then I hit Philadelphia.
Is that Rittenhouse?
Yep.
Have you done that before?
The craft show, yes.
Oh, you're doing the craft show, not the 2D?
Yeah, because they know a lot of photography and the fine art.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
But
I was
that
always
just
wondering.
The show is becoming really good for me, little by little, so I don't
Oh,
complain.
good. Yeah. It's always been on my radar. And I could fly, and I've been, thinking about that because I could teach and fly, and they'd pay for my flight. And
I think it's the same week in the Bethesda, or the week after Bethesda, or the week before. So, but I don't know for sure.
mm-hmm.
So, but it's the same weekend at our fears. Our fear? Yeah. The one in South Carolina.
Oh, right.
Artist
Okay.
Fair,
Yeah.
first week
Yeah.
in May, I think,
Oh,
Second
or
weekend.
second week in May.
So,
It's 2 weeks after Fort Worth,
mm-hmm.
or maybe it might even be 3 weeks.
3.
3 weeks, yeah.
Isn't it like Mother's Day weekend or something?
Yeah.
That's my favorite show to do.
Artisphere? Why is that?
Because it's the easiest one to get in and out of. It's
Mhm.
and the people are really nice, and they come to buy.
Right. All
I
right. Well,
thought
those are all the,
The people that run it are really great. Um,
I
it's
thought
just
Des
fun.
Moines was your favorite chef.
No, Des Moines is the best run show. Stephen King is the best director in terms of taking care of every little detail.
mhm.
And Des Moines is definitely up there because of that reason. I like, it. I don't like doing shows where there's a hassle or little petty things happen.
Mhm.
Like at Coconut Grove, they had breakfast and lunch, but if you didn't get there in the first minute, you didn't get it. And then one day for lunch, because I'm by myself, there was this
Yeah.
huge line. There was a line, and if you didn't get in there right away, there was nothing. And people were they were whining, "I didn't get breakfast. I didn't get lunch both days." So
Mhm.
it's little things like that. So
Right, right. The other thing is, as a jeweler, you can't leave your booth
that's right.
if you're
That's
if you're
right.
set up.
Yeah, they should have brought the food to your booth.
They used to.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did it last year, not this year. I don't know why.
yeah, and it's pretty impossible. You absolutely just cannot leave your booth as a jeweler,
Yeah.
and so
Probably lack of volunteers.
uh,
Well, who knows what the real reason is?
I think that last year they got the people from the school, kids from school to bring the lunch over. But also the food this year was better than last year.
Really?
Yeah, it was real food, and last year there was just sandwiches, potato chips, and maybe a soda.
mhm.
See, I judge it by the way it used to be a long time ago. I remember when it was really good, and they used to have a convention center right in the middle of the show, and it was a place where artists could go just hang out, sit around,
Oh,
and they had food, really good food, and then they had a dinner one night that was even better, a catered affair, and so, to go now after not being doing the show for a long time and going back and, it's like a tent and it's like there's hardly anything.
mhm.
It's a big come down from then. Apparently it's better. The last couple of years, it was really bad. And most of the people that do the show haven't done it in, like 20, 30 years ago. So they don't remember, they don't know. They just
They
think
don't
this is,
know what was there.
yeah.
Yeah, got
I
it.
unfortunately
So
am cursed with knowing
right, that
because
is a curse. Yeah.
yeah,
So I would rather have a cheaper booth fee than all those additional things.
But that
Um,
show, Alison, no, that show you really want, because this, they was asking for a hot dog. I mean, literally $15 for a hot dog.
$15, did you say?
Yeah, $15
Oh,
for a hot dog.
mhm.
It makes the prices that you go to a baseball game, they are cheap compared to what they were charging in there. It was insane. Like
Wow. It's like airport prices.
I think the airport was cheaper.
it's because the association sets all those fees, those prices, and they have no clue. They don't they only care about themselves. They don't think about us.
Hmm. Well, I mean
I
I
don't know
bring
about
my
that.
own I bring my own food, but I'm kind of picky
I know,
anyway.
we know.
And although I have to say, Cherry Creek, one year there was a pierogi food truck, and they give you a wooden nickel, and you can get a
Yeah,
meal,
yeah.
and so so that's nice, getting like if you wanted something to eat from the food available, that they give you a freebie.
When they had it in the mall parking lot a couple of years ago,
Hmm.
the place where the food was so far away, uh,
Yes.
it took me
It was-
all day to even find. I mean, I couldn't find
It-
it. It took
it was-
hours.
It was really far, and I know they really had to put it together because I don't think they knew if it was going to go or not. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
really far. It was a long walk. But yeah, no, I don't. Cheaper booth fee and no food, I wouldn't mind. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, yeah, but you're one of the few that bring your own brings your own.
Well, a cheaper booth fee and no $12,000 awards.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
doesn't. I like the awards. Not that not that I get one, but I just like it's bragging rights if you get one, and then if you don't, then you can complain about how inept the judges were. So it it
Hey,
serves a purpose for me
But the
at
judge
least.
never came in my booth.
Yeah, that's what those. That's it's so funny because that's why there's stickers. That's why those stickers because people in the past there never was stickers. And just the judge would come around and people would go, oh, they never came to my booth. So now there's stickers that and quite it's like so they don't even stop in the booth. They just put the sticker. They got the helper walking around putting the stickers on the thing. So it's not any better, you know.
Well,
But
I
I
know
like
at
awards.
yeah, I don't know. Again, I'd just rather have a cheaper booth fee.
But it's not
Well,
going to be
that's
that much less.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And then
because that
the best
footage
thing,
is just the footage is a sponsor. They're giving the food for free.
the best thing about the awards is getting automatic entry, which I
That's right.
understand not all shows do that, but that to me is like that's the nicest award.
Yeah. Winter Park has their low award of merit, I think it's $500, and then they have $1,000. And they have a lot of those $500 awards.
Uh-huh.
But you're not invited back.
Oh, you're
The
kidding.
invite back
Oh.
starts at $1,000. And the reason
Oh.
why I'm bringing this up is because the last time I did the show, I won a $500 award, and I have not been invited. I've not gotten into the shows since then. So it's
Oh, wow.
kind of funny.
Yeah. And I noticed that some of those awards they had $5,000, 12,000, 5,000, 2,500, 1,000. I mean, those are nice awards. I don't do that many shows with that. I don't think I've done a show with such high rewards.
And they don't charge an entry fee, which my main crusade, which I've sort of given up on because nobody cares, is that if they take a gate fee, we need to get a cut of that.
Well,
Just like bands do at concerts, and the sport athletes get a cut.
but they're doing all the organizing of the show, so
So not
yeah,
not
I
the
don't see
athletes.
how, right? But I'm just saying in our circumstance, I just don't see, that ever happening.
Well, it should, yeah, because artists they won't stand up for it. You think any of the what about actors that get a cut of the gate or they don't deal with the business, they just act in the thing in the
Right, but
movie.
the actors might not be. Oh, you mean in a movie theater? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean
Oh,
you have an actor, you have
right.
actors, you have a crew, and you make a movie. They make a movie, and they pay them. They pay them X amount of dollars to do, to be in the movie, and then many of them get a cut of the gate of the gross.
Uh-huh.
And same thing with athletes. The ticket prices or concerts, they get a cut of the concert money. We should be
Hmm.
getting a cut of any show that charges a gate fee, because there's a lot less people that come through when they charge, even if it's $5. And
Hmm.
when they start charging $5, eventually it ends up being $20,
Uh,
because they spend the money. They take in the money and then they spend it. It's part of their budget. So the more money they get, you know, it isn't like they save it or they say, hey, we took in X amount of dollars. Let's give the artists a break and charge them less money, you know, booth fee. No, no, we get screwed. And you know what? The only difference between getting it and not getting it is demanding it. We don't demand it. We don't demand anything.
But
Unlike,
if they said, okay, you could have part of the gate, now you have to pay the police, for example, or
nope, that's their job. That's their business. Our job is to come to the show with really great work and a really nice setup and be professional and be why? Because we're drawing people there. We're creating the income that everybody gets. We're creating the income that they get at the gate fee. Without us, there isn't anything. Hey, let's have a show with no artists, just have a food booth and see what happens. I mean, we're the motive, you know, it's us. It's about us.
well, there are food and wine shows, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. Those are tough to do because you're going to get drunks in your booth knocking things over.
No, I mean, there are shows without artists that are just about food and wine.
Great. You know,
So anyway, you know,
that's right. It's another promotion. It's it's another weekend.
It draws a different crowd.
Doesn't matter if it's different or they're from Mars. It's a crowd that spends money. That's the only thing that matters. I'm speaking to the economics of the whole thing. We generate income for them and for the state and for the city, you know.
Well, what I wish is that sales tax everywhere was just a coupon we filled out and paid it, rather than, I mean, some states are easy, but the whole rigmarole, it's like we collect the money, we have to give it to them. Fine, make it as easy as possible.
Come around an hour before the end of the show, or come around on the last day and take checks.
Well, there are some shows that they set up a table.
I know, it'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, Old Town gives you a coupon, and it's, you have like 10 days, and you just mail it to them. Very easy.
California lets you do it online.
Yes.
Yeah, so does Texas.
As long as you're not in California, if you're sole proprietor, if you are an LLC or a corporation, you have to pay $800 to do business in the state of California. I mean, that's not my issue, but I know people who won't do shows in California, artists who won't do shows in California anymore because of that. But I thought it was very easy. Now that I don't live there anymore, to do the sales tax. It was just complicated filling out the thing online, but somebody answered the phone and helped me through it. So
I don't know, this last time it was really easy. They cut it back so it automatically calculates things. You just check off, California, and then whatever counties you sold in. Whether or not you have out of state or government sales, you don't sell this or that, tobacco, alcohol.
Right.
You just skip those pages now.
But for out of state, I had to file a temporary one with dates and everything, and that that wasn't as straightforward. That's what they had to talk me through.
Oh, okay.
But it was all right. They answer the phone. Unlike Arizona, I finally closed down my Arizona one because Scottsdale's not happening, but they kept telling me I owed $50, and it was all this back and forth, and I had to fill out a form to contest that, and I had to fill out a form to change my address, but you could never reach anyone on the phone. And Arizona
sounds like
really
Social
was
Security.
Well, Social Security is another issue because my mother, she has Alzheimer's, and I get all her mail, but I can't get her Social Security mail. I mean, it doesn't matter, but there's no way to change it unless you become the person's guardian. So just as a person to get her mail, you just can't, they don't recognize power of attorney. But anyway, that's a different story.
I wouldn't answer phone or emails. All I got was a circular runaround. The email they'd send back was automatically generated, and it says, here, call our national number. Call that, and they tell you to email, you know.
Well, yeah, I remember when I changed my mother's address with her, we were literally on hold for about an hour and a half
Yeah.
before talking to someone.
Mm.
Because she, you know, she was a judge.
Called my local congressperson, and her office got it taken care of. She got an answer right away. They answered. It says Representative so and so's office on their caller ID.
Right.
But I had it within, 2 days after the office lady called them. I got a note saying that you'll be receiving your check in a week. And I did.
Oh, good. That's good that actually made a difference.
This was after 6 months of trying to go through Social Security.
Right. Wow.
So call your congressperson.
Yeah. Well, no, for my situation, it's different because I'm not a legal guardian, and it's,
They might be able to help, though. At least get you somebody who'll talk to you. And
So
I actually have talked to people at Social Security. So yeah.
So
it's a different,
Allison, if you do it online, you can impersonate your mother.
Yeah, it's way too late for that now.
Oh.
I should have set it up a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it's, and then they asked questions and I knew the answers and it still wasn't acceptable. Like even if I go onto on some of my own accounts and they ask, where were you born? And it's like, I know the answer to that. And sometimes it won't accept it. So I don't understand.
That's weird.
Yeah. But anyway, it is nice doing a show in Oregon because there's no sales tax. It's such a luxury not to have to not to have to set that up. What other states don't have sales tax? New Hampshire, maybe?
New Hampshire.
Delaware.
Delaware. Oh, yeah, of course, Delaware. That's right.
Pennsylvania on clothing.
New Jersey too on clothing. So New Mexico taxes services. So I never used to have to charge sales tax for teaching. Here I have to. They charge like gardening or like any kind of service. We're getting stucco repair done. There's sales tax on that. The only thing there's not sales tax on is if you buy food in a grocery. Pardon?
Some places
they charge sales tax and services.
Yeah. Sales tax on everything but food, like raw food.
Great.
Well, the state probably needs the money.
Michigan, you pay, or maybe it was Illinois that you paid tax on food too.
Oh, wow.
There's a bunch of states that actually charge this is sales tax for food, but the sales tax for food in Illinois is like a 2%, I think, at the most. Not that much to make difference.
But the thing is, for some people, it does make a difference. I mean, if we're talking about, there's a lot of people just living right on the edge, and that sales tax could make a huge difference, for their dinner table.
Yeah, but the people that you refer, they have food stamps, they don't pay sales tax as food.
I wonder if food stamps are taxed as part as income. No, it shouldn't be. I mean,
no, you have to buy it usually.
What?
Depending on what income you have, they decided how much you can buy a month, and sometimes it's really worth standing in line to get. I think my son at one point while he was in school he could buy $30 worth of food stamps a month for $25.
Ah, interesting.
So it was like,
Is it true Social Security used to not be taxed?
yeah. It is now,
Right.
but
That I know.
Was its income.
yeah.
Right.
But you've paid into it. It's like an IRA.
Right.
And
Social Security, they charge you tax and Social Security.
yeah, when it pays out, that's part of your annual income. Unless, of course, you're below the poverty line, but whatever your
But,
tax level is.
but that's a tax that they charge you when you're working.
Yeah.
They'll charge you whatever your income is that year. Like, let's say you have income from another source and Social Security. You're charged as if, it's
It's
just
all
a
income.
basic, right, regular income.
Well, for Social Security, first they take your Medicare out of it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's all right.
Don't pay tax on the part that goes to Medicare.
I like that.
Right. Yeah.
So
They shouldn't be charging taxes on Social Security.
if you want them to leave you alone, tell them you're retired. They'll treat you like you don't have an income and go away.
That is crazy.
Well, if you have a regular IRA, when you start getting distributions, you're taxed on that.
Well, that one I understand.
It's
Why?
the same for Social Security.
So Oscar, it's
But
like,
the-
let's say you have income, let's say you have $1 billion in the bank or, invested, and you have income from that dividends. I think that's taxed as an investment, but it's still, so it's not working income, right? It's investing. It's like 15%.
No, it's a,
That would be a lot. It'd be more like 4% or 3%.
Depends on the type of investment.
And which one of us has $1 billion in the bank?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying this. I'm saying that if you work, you're
That you,
taxed at a
Allison?
higher rate. No.
Earned income.
I just think that when you investment income like that kind of you don't get taxed on that.
You pay taxes on your capital gains from it, but you're not taxed as high as if you work at a job.
No, I think that actually you don't get. I don't think that you get charged capital gain.
Yeah, you can.
Right?
Sure.
Capital gains and
unless you're like super duper wealthy, then you just don't have to pay taxes at all. Seems.
rental income is taxed differently too.
Pardon?
Rental income is taxed differently too. So
is that taxed like work income?
No, it's different though. You have to declare it differently.
Mm-hmm.
For a while, we rented out my father's home, which we sold to the renter finally when they got approval to get the loan on it. But that was taxed, but it wasn't with the rest of the income somehow. And like rented out part of your studio, that wouldn't be the same as the income you earn from selling.
I got a letter from the Social Security that said that if you get to a certain age, like I think it's 70, you don't have to pay any tax on any money you make once you hit a certain age.
No.
Yep. I'm living that. So I'm telling you.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why not?
So you're saying after a certain age, you don't have to pay tax on Social Security? Is that it? Is that what you said?
it could, well, they might take that out because they're taking it out before they give it to you. So, and I wouldn't make any waves, but they, I got a letter. It said, you, you'd have to pay for anything any income you have over,
That doesn't make sense.
Check on that, make sure it's
makes
not a
sense to me.
Or do you mean you don't have to pay into Social Security after a certain age? Is that what you're saying?
No, you don't have to pay into
Oh.
Social Security once you tell them you're retired. That's a different story.
Okay, right.
Similar.
Well, then you don't pay Social Security on income up to a certain level, but then they start cutting your benefit payments.
That's right, but it's like 250,000 or something like that. I mean, it's a lot.
It's
Uh,
less.
Actually, maybe it's not 250,000. And I did read it. I did actually read what that was a couple of weeks ago, but I can't tell you what it is because I'm definitely turning senile.
don't say that.
See, they count on that.
I'm counting on it because if they, come after me, I'll go, oh, I didn't know what was going on. I'm an old guy.
So what? They don't care.
Not that much.
And the poverty rate, the so-called poverty rate in this country is so low, like it hasn't kept up with the times. Kind of ridiculous. Compared what it costs to live.
Well, that's why it's called the poverty line.
The poverty line hasn't moved since like the 1950s or something. I mean,
no, that's not true.
So what's the poverty rate? Do you know?
Well, the last time I looked, it was around 20,000, but in the 50s, it was probably 5 or 6.
I thought it was closer to 30,000.
Okay,
No.
whatever.
Yeah, I think it's 30,000.
It might vary to state
I
to
fit.
state.
I'm in that
No,
low income group.
I
So
don't think
am
it does vary. I don't think it varies state to state, which is another issue because there are and certain places are so much more expensive to live than others. But I remember reading an article that you can't even rent a 1-bedroom apartment anywhere in the country for minimum wage.
Oh, not even close.
I mean, minimum wage is poverty wage.
It's
actually half. It's half of poverty. It's like you have the poverty and it's about half of that at
Right.
most.
Well, San Diego's minimum wage is now $16.30 an hour.
And I think all of California, I think, is a minimum of 15 as a base, I think.
But it's still about half of what it should be.
Right.
Well, the
adjusted for inflation.
That's right. Actually, if you go back to the 1950s and then you adjust for inflation and cost of living, it should be about $30 an hour.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's supposed to be $30 an hour. If you're not making that, you cannot survive really. That's what you need to make.
Yeah, but at $30 an hour, the CEOs can't get $100 million a year. So
right.
They don't want to,
and they need
and they need it. I know.
Right. They need their 100 million.
Allison, if you have any female friends whose husband maybe passed away or they had a really bad relationship and they ended up dumping the guy, but got a really great settlement. If you could hook me up with somebody like that, I'm really, really nice and I'd be really grateful. And
I don't know that I know anyone like that.
I can't believe that. I don't believe that.
Because, well, I mostly know artists. I mean,
okay, that's a problem.
There's that.
Yeah. You like that, Oscar? That was funny.
You're terrible.
And they would have to have money, right? So there's that.
Well, that's what it's about. Well, not necessarily.
Right, that's the point. Yeah.
I can take care of myself. Well, that is part of the point, you know.
Right.
Oh my God.
Then I can move to Santa Fe.
Right.
They go, who's that new guy with a big smile on his face walking down the street? That'd be me.
Yeah. He lives on the street.
Well, no, not if I met somebody, you know.
Sleep
Hey, it's
in the
hard to do,
doorway.
you know. It's hard to live on the street.
Sleep in the doorway.
You know,
Oh,
there
that's
are
the-
probably, Barry, there probably are a lot of people here that would fit the bill. Whether I know
know,
them
but
or not, whether I know them or not is a different story.
yeah, but how do you meet them? You know,
Right.
you can't advertise, so you know.
No, you can't.
Hello Cupid or something? Isn't that
Oh God, you
Silver-haired singles.
I just rather meet them. An artist would be great because they're, self-sufficient. They have a skill set, They'd
I mean, I meet a
appreciate
lot of
me.
people. I do meet a lot of people at the artist market when I do that.
Yeah, well, you can meet them at the laundromat and you meet at the grocery store too. But
Yeah, I don't go to
you
I
know,
don't go to the laundromat.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I should have said grocery store first,
Yeah.
or CVS,
Hmm. But not Walgreens.
Wait a minute. Why not Walgreens? I actually go to Walgreens. What?
Oh, well, Walgreens has decided not to distribute the abortion pill,
Right.
even in
Oh,
states where it's legal.
well, I'm
They're
never
gonna
going to get an
change, they're gonna
abortion.
change their mind.
It doesn't matter if you're not going to get an abortion.
I know.
It's,
I know.
Now, Walgreens is
I
gonna
realize,
change their
Allison, it's a
mind.
really sensitive subject that I'm making light of, but I don't mean it as in a mean spirited way. I
right.
think it's
No, I
I
know.
think it's pathetic, actually. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and it starts with, whose business is it of some old white guy in the first place? It
Right.
shouldn't be up to them. It's ridiculous. Legislated, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
Like we don't have real problems to think about our government. Come on. They gotta
Exactly.
be obsessed. These right wingers, they gotta be obsessed with this thing. They just made it up, just to have something to,
They're out of their
'cause-
minds. They're completely
well,
out of their minds. They want to bring back child marriage. I mean, it's disgusting. Anyway,
no, they want child labor, like Alabama just signed into law.
yeah, child labor.
yeah. No, child labor, but they also want to bring back child marriage. So,
You mean
Well,
like
they
Carrie
have it
Lee
already.
Lewis?
But
Pardon?
Allison, in a practical sense, they're gonna kill themselves. They're gonna have a heart attack, with some young girl. I mean, why would they even want that? It's not good for their health.
because they want to like have, somebody who stops going to school by the time they're 14, and they could just, have this, private servant who pops out babies for them, and
Boring.
Like
so
the
gross.
Taliban.
That'd be so
Yes, like the
boring.
Taliban.
That'd be boring.
Yeah. So,
Well, they said the reason why they like the child labor is because for kids, you only have to pay them $4 an hour for the first 90 days.
and the thing is, what I don't understand is, isn't that illegal anyway? I mean,
No, not if that's a state to state thing.
Well,
yeah, but the interesting thing is, federally, pot isn't
Federal law,
legal.
yeah,
So,
wage, but kids don't meet minimum wage, whatever.
requirements.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's a requirement,
I
but
don't know about that.
exception, so they only have to pay them half of minimum wage.
You sure about that?
Yeah, that was something they were commenting on the Alabama law.
So,
The
I mean,
governor-
honestly, this has to be challenged in courts. I mean, it's ridiculous So these, I'm sure families that have a lot of kids and they're very poor can use the money. So maybe that's,
Well,
what they're trying to, but what's going to happen with these kids?
well,
I
that's
mean,
what they're saying, but it says they're giving them job skills. That most of the kids so far that have been involved in this are some of those migrant kids that,
right.
so
And they're,
figure they're gonna get injured or whatever before the 90 days are up, so they end up having, essentially free labor for 89 days.
mhm. It's
And then-
completely immoral, the whole thing. I mean,
or Guatemala.
Hey, I
Definitely.
know artists that moved to Guatemala. In fact, some of you might even are old enough to, Cynthia Davis. You guys, Cynthia Davis,
Sure.
photographer. She lives in, Larry would know Cynthia Davis. She lives in and then her
In Peru.
husband,
In Peru,
no, Guatemala.
Guatemala, right, with John
John, what's his
Barry.
last name?
Barry.
Yeah, John Barry, jeweler. They
mhm.
live in Guatemala.
So I imagine the cost of living there is pretty inexpensive.
$1,000 a month
Mhm.
you can live on. And the food's fresh. It doesn't have preservatives in it. It actually,
Mhm.
it's pretty cool. And the music's really great too. The government's totalitarian, but
Right.
if you stay away, you live in these certain places, you can do okay.
Hey, here's
Mhm.
some trivia for you. Do you know who Cynthia Davis was married to before she married John?
I know what he looks like, but I don't remember his name.
Michael Stipic.
No way. Where do I know
How does
that
that
name?
name sound familiar?
The photographer from Denver.
Oh,
Why do I know that? Yeah, was he the guy that had multiple names and multiple booths?
No,
Who was that guy?
Emerson.
No, Emerson only had one booth, and it's only Emerson. And besides, Emerson has such a strong personality, he couldn't be anybody else. Everybody would know him right from the get-go.
Okay,
Where's Emerson?
this is art show gossip.
I miss Emerson. I
so is
haven't
there
seen him
any,
in a-
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, have any of you who've done shows noticed any trend with sales this year? Any habits, patterns?
Press
You
that
know-
again, Alice.
Go on.
Can you repeat that again, Allison?
What?
Can you repeat the question again?
Oh, yes. Have you noticed any habits, patterns, anything with the shows you've done this year, whether it's buying patterns or general, I don't know, mood of a crowd or anything else like that?
I can answer that.
Yeah.
The answer is, at least on the Gulf side of Florida, you couldn't really tell because some of it was devastated. It was devastated so badly that they're slow. They've been slow to rebuild or having the insurance companies give them their money. They've done most of the cleanup. All the rubble that was on the ground, it's been cleared away, but they haven't really started building or doing stuff. I talked to people that wanted to buy something, but they didn't have their money, or they didn't have a place to live. And
Oh,
and the hotels, it was almost hard to get a hotel room because the locals were staying in the rooms.
right. Are they able to get their insurance money? Do you have any idea now to this
Well, you
point?
know what? When you're paying, X amount of thousands of dollars a year for home insurance, you better be able to get, that's what you're
No,
paying for.
but sometimes, like in certain states, the governor can help push the insurance companies to make the decisions faster and things like that. I know in California that's happened, but but often then you hear stories about how long it takes people to get their insurance money. So I'm just wondering if there's
The people, some of my friends that got affected, they start getting the money just last month.
oh,
They
Yeah.
just start getting the money now.
that's a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because last time they had got their money before the shows, and the shows were
Yeah.
great.
Right.
Yeah, so they just getting the money now, and most of them that have money, the people that have money, put the money into fixing the places,
Right.
and the people that didn't have the money had to wait for the insurance. But the
Mhm.
biggest thing that I know down there was the low end prices. That
Mhm.
market is almost gone.
Yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
it's nothing low end is almost gone. So basically, you have to cater to the. If it was bad before, now you really have to cater to the high end customer.
Mhm. So
It's
what do
like
you think is going to what do you think is going to happen with, I mean, we can only speculate, but there are going to be more storms and
Every year.
every
Every
year.
year in Florida. It's going to be every year, and it's going to be a little worse every year. That's what the scientists said.
Yeah, that's my. I was joking about this before, and I would say to people, if nothing bad happened this summer, that in Florida we should have a good season next year. But
Mhm.
to get hit by the storm, and the only thing that you can pray for selfish reason is that the storm goes above I-4. And,
Or into the ocean below
or
Miami.
Mhm.
south east from Miami. You don't want it to go to Miami, any of that area, because that's what all the
No,
better shows
south of
are.
Miami. Just
Oh,
miss
really?
Florida altogether.
Yeah. So
So, but what I mean is, like, eventually, insurance companies are not going to want to pay as this keeps happening. I
well,
mean,
insurance
or
in Florida, this basically the only insurance company that they have is the state-run insurance. Most
uh-huh.
of them are left the area.
Right. Right.
That's what the biggest problem in Florida right now is housing is super expensive.
Mhm.
Insurance for your house is super expensive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Insurance for your car is super expensive.
Oh.
Your insurance is super expensive, and your education service is horrible.
And
It's,
what?
it's
Oh,
education is horrible. Basically,
right.
Florida, people don't want to say this, but Florida has become what the West Coast is now. Everything is the living, owning a property is going to be only for the super wealthy. It's going to,
Uh-huh.
and the people that going to serve the people that have money, they
Mhm.
won't be able to afford to live in Florida.
Uh-huh.
Florida's turning into a third world country.
Mhm.
Basically,
No, I don't know about that. I think Michigan's turned into a third world country, and
no,
Florida has very wealthy people.
yeah, but if you don't have people, the people that provide the services like
Yeah.
don't have a place to live. What are you going to do
Well,
about it?
well, I read an article about Sun Valley in Idaho, and um, the housing is and it's a small town. I mean, the whole region, there's not that much housing because it's rural and small. And there was this window installer who, in the summer, he would take his pickup truck and go into the forest at night to find a place to sleep. And eventually, if people can't afford to live in Florida, they're not going to fly in for their work. It just seems not. It seems unsustainable for those who could afford to live there, because who's going to clean your toilet?
Yeah, that's the problem that they don't looking at that. That's the problem that's the biggest problem that, in my opinion, the Republicans in general don't think about it. They just think that they're not thinking about the people they're going to serve those people. Who's
Well,
going to
they'll just have child labor, and that's who will clean the toilets.
Yeah,
And
but
and
the funny thing, the reason why they're doing the law for the child is so they can hire the people the kids to come across the border.
Right,
the main-
right, I know. Yeah,
It's not for, because they don't. If it's a migrant, doesn't have to prove this is legal, not legal neither. So
Well,
it's
it's
a big
totally exploitive. It's totally exploitive.
yeah. So
Because you cannot work in this country if you're 14. If you're below 14, you're not allowed to work in this country. I mean, maybe if it's your parents,
Wait a
store, restaurant, whatever, but
hold on.
yeah.
I was how old was I? 13 or
16.
maybe 14 or 15. I don't
Yeah.
actually, maybe I was 15. And I worked in a soda shop and I loved it.
Right, but your parents probably needed to sign a form in order for you to
No.
work there
Nope. And minimum wage
at
was
15.
90 cents an hour.
Well, I had a paper route, and my mother had to sign a
Paper
form.
route. Yeah. I
So,
don't remember any forms with a paper route.
Or cutting
maybe the
grass
laws were
for people
different.
for 50 cents.
Yeah. Well, that was California. California's giving every
What was
person.
No, I didn't. I'm not from California.
Oh, you're not from
That
there.
was
Okay, never mind.
no. I'm from frickin' Jersey.
I had to sign for my kids to
Well,
work.
that explains it.
You had to sign for your kids to work.
At 16
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. until they were 18.
Right.
holy cow, that's a Datsun 810. I don't see one of those in a long, long time. Holy cow, that's an old timer. No, well, guys, I'm going to let you go because I need to go to Chick-fil-A and get my lunch dinner.
Okay.
Bye. Have a good show
Bye.
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go to Bucky's though. Go find a Bucky's.
Oh, no Buc-ee's for me. Yeah.
So Barry, the other thing is, I mean, it may have just been different times. Like when I was in grade school, girls, they were required that girls play the same sports as boys. So, there just might have been different nuances to child labor laws.
There was a girls' football team.
There wasn't, but girls played football in gym class.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Baseball.
I was on the basketball team, which is funny
Really?
because I've always been kind of small. And in elementary school.
In New Jersey. You were the tallest one, but everybody grew up.
No, I wasn't. I was always smaller than everyone else. And it was a very tough school, like tough district and everything. And so anyway, but so I always thought it was funny that I played basketball.
Well, I played baseball. And I still love baseball.
Mm-hmm.
7 o'clock tonight. USA and Japan.
I used to actually love going to see the Red Sox play when I lived in Boston. It was just
Fenway.
The cheap seats were great because there was always the entertainment of everyone else around you.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun.
Tiger Stadium was built, I think, either a year before or a year after, and they had the same architect. So basically, the stadiums were exactly the same, except that Detroit had a second deck, had an upper deck, and Boston doesn't. Didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a modern stadium, but in Boston, it's such tradition. They would never abandon Fenway.
Well, it came up a long time ago, and everyone was in an uproar.
Yeah.
And it really is, and it's right in the city. I mean, you could just walk to it.
Yeah, or you take the train. It gets out right there.
Right, the T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the Cubs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But I'm a Tigers fan.
The Detroit Tigers. That's right.
Yes. And it wouldn't matter where I lived. I'd always be a Tigers fan.
Uh-huh. Oh, so it was the Blue Jays that Eric saw in
Toronto.
Dunedin,
Oh yeah.
and he let's see, Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
He had a nice photograph of Don Mattingly that he took. Is that somebody famous? I don't know.
First baseman for the Yankees, but he's also, I think he's a manager or I don't
Oh,
right now.
okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of the Cubs, I stayed with a friend of mine for a couple days at Fort Myers, and we went to the pool, and there was a guy there, really friendly guy, and we're talking to him and stuff. And then later on, my friend said, he played Major League Baseball, but she didn't know who he was.
Mhm.
So she finds out later, it turns out to be this guy, Jim Essien, who actually played for a number of teams had a 14-year career. And he also managed the Cubs. And I went, oh yeah, I know that guy. So he
Yeah.
actually signed a card, an old baseball card.
Hmm.
And she's supposed to send it to me. She might have already sent it, but I haven't gone to get my mail, so I don't know. But
Hmm.
that was kind of cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Do you have to go to the post office to get your mail?
I don't have to, but because I travel a lot,
Uh,
I get it's easier just to have it there for a month.
right. Yeah, I understand. I lived in a place for a short time where we had to get our mail at the post office and bring the garbage to the dump, which was a new thing for me.
Yeah, we have a dumpster.
Well, here we have city pickup. So, yeah, that's the thing in Santa Fe. I made sure we were on city water because, um, we don't know what's going to happen in the future of water here.
Well, luckily, I don't know how long ago it was, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the Great Lakes states and Canada, because Canada is
Hmm.
also on the Great Lakes, passed
Yeah,
a thing that said, you can't take our water.
that's great. I have to say, being on a Great Lake is probably a good thing having that body of fresh water as
Yeah,
as it
except for
dries up
one
throughout.
thing.
Yeah.
The Nestle Corporation is
Oh.
allowed to suck the water out and purify it and put it in bottles and sell it back to you. And in some ways, in a capitalistic free market enterprise system, it's brilliant. Let's take the
Hmm.
water and sell it that's free and
Back
sell
to.
it to people. It's actually
So
a brilliant.
how did that happen though? I mean, that's
Contracts. They're doing the same thing in California.
It's everywhere.
And
well,
farmers,
you know what you know what California said to Arizona? California has older water rights to the Colorado River, so there's Trump Arizona's or anyone else's. New Mexico doesn't take a big percentage from the Colorado River, neither does Utah, but Phoenix is, made on that. And with all of these disputes now with water rights, Californians are older, so they get more water now.
Yeah. Hey, some great movies were made about that subject.
Right,
Chinatown.
Chinatown.
Chinatown, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. My grandfather helped build what was Hoover Dam, or what is
Oh.
Hoover Dam, Boulder Dam, when he built it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That the government, when they were done with a section, they just dump all the tools into the wet cement rather than pick them up and take them home.
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. Wow. I know a lot of people died building that dam.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Since they were throwing them away anyway, he took a few home himself. He was
It used to be really exciting driving over the Hoover Dam. Now, you don't see it from the bridge that you drive over. And I mean, I understand why, but you know, it was always just this, I don't know, exciting thing. And now though, you could stop and see it, but you can't see it. It's all blocked if you're driving. Yeah. And it's actually down the way from where I mean, you literally used to just drive over the dam. And it is named after, there was a football player who enlisted in the military and he was killed.
Oh yeah, not too long ago, right?
Relatively speaking, yeah.
Yeah. What was his name?
Herschel Walker.
No.
No, that's silly.
No, it was a white guy.
Yeah.
I'll know the name as soon as you mention it.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna look it up. Pat Tillman.
That's right, Pat Tillman.
Yes, it's actually Pat Tillman and Mike O'Callahan. I don't know who Mike O'Callahan is.
Probably one of his buddies.
No, I don't think they're related in any way. It doesn't say who Mike O'Callahan is. And isn't it true, Pat Tillman, he got some offer to play in the NBA, like, I don't know, millions of dollars or something, and he enlisted instead.
Well, he was a football player.
Football, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He was a good football player. Well, some of those guys are really gung ho, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I'd rather stay out of the military. I think our military is part of our problem in the world, sticking our nose in other people's business. But it
Well,
stems.
but then you don't want to be an isolationist either because it all affects us anyway. I mean, there's
Well,
nuances.
you don't want to be an isolationist because most of the world is full of despots and really horrible people that'll kill you without any conscience.
Okay,
Unfortunately.
Mike O'Callahan was governor of Nevada from 1971 to 79. And Pat Tillman played for the Arizona Cardinals. And he enlisted, was killed in Afghanistan 2004 by friendly fire.
I don't mean to laugh, but
yeah,
just when you said that, I thought, I bet he was an asshole. And somebody said, I'm going to get rid of this guy.
Supposedly, he was a really nice guy and he was not at all a hawk. He just felt like it was his duty to enlist.
Yeah.
So
I think it was my duty to stay out of the military. I don't own a gun either. I don't carry, you know. If nobody had guns, there'd be a lot of problems we wouldn't have.
There used to be a lot less. There used to be a lot less mass murders until you know everyone can get an automatic weapon.
You don't even need an automatic weapon. You don't even need a reason to do it except that, like, hey, wake up one day and go, I'm just going to go kill a bunch of people, like at my alma mater, Michigan State.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic.
There's like I saw a statistic that like, okay, there's been a bunch of killings on college campuses, but at just schools in general, you know, junior high school grades, it's staggering. It's like one a week. We're averaging more than one a week for you know, the last
It's
umpteen years.
it's unbelievable. I mean, I remember, in like junior high school, people would smoke and do drugs. Maybe there'd be a smoke bomb, which was kind of fun because then, I mean, I hate to say that, but then we all had to leave the premises. So, it was an excuse to be interrupted in class. But, that's as bad as it. I mean, I can't even imagine. I've asked a couple of my friends who are teachers, and they have these drills
It's
all the
outrageous.
time.
Listen, the one place that should feel safe, though you shouldn't even have to think about it, is grade school or junior high or high school.
Right.
Just the
Right.
thought that in America now they have to think about these things. But
Right.
hey, listen, the synagogue I used to go to when I was growing up has an armed guard now at the door, during services. I mean, what is fucking wrong with this country?
I always remember like armed guards at synagogues. Like in Brooklyn, there'd always be like some, at my aunt's synagogue, some big guy, standing in front. I mean, even, 20 plus years ago, I could remember that.
Yeah.
Well, the one near us has a locked gate and a guard behind it. You have to show whatever idea for him to open the gate.
Shouldn't even be that way. It's ridiculous.
Right. It's not a free society if we have to have armed guards everywhere. That actually is very third world.
It is third world.
Yeah. So
Or-
Kaylee, are there any?
Well,
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was in grade school. We had to do air raid drills.
Yeah.
The
But
siren-
that what? Once a year? Once
No,
a semester?
no, it was every month.
Really?
I remember air raid drills and
I
like
did
once
too.
a year.
Yeah,
Oh,
once a
we
year.
did it once a month.
Yeah. You had to go into the basement and intermix with the asbestos coming out of the walls and the ceilings.
Oh, right.
So we had
Remember
to
that?
go under our desk and then put our hands up around our, I don't know.
I've never heard of anybody doing that, but I've seen the movies. They used to show these
Right.
black and white movies
Yeah.
where you'd get under the desk.
Yeah.
And the thing about it now, how silly that was. Oh yeah, that's going to really protect you. And
Well, we
and
used
when they
to-
Protect you from the glass falling, supposedly from the windows.
yeah, that's
we used to
gonna
go.
really
We
help.
used to go to the Fallout shelter was where the band played. So we all go down into this basement area,
Yeah.
and yeah, this
And we were
world.
so naive too, because I mean, like none of that. If that happened, you're not going to be protected. Nothing's, you're going to get,
Right.
you're going to breathe it. You're going to go outside. Sooner or later, you got to go outside. I mean, look at Chernobyl. Nobody's been there for a long, long time. For all that time.
Right.
I don't think they were planning for atomic when we were doing that. I think it was just conventional bombings that would, knock the windows out.
Oh no, it was atomic weapons. It was nuclear warfare.
I know. I was afraid of nuclear war, and then 3 Mile Island. I remember distinctly being in New Jersey. It was like 300 miles away.
Really?
And I remember being worried about the radioactive cloud. It depended upon which way the winds blew, and I remember reading about cows, just dropping dead in the fields, and it felt very scary.
And look at all the things they used to do, like all the nuclear testing, underground testing, and then in the ocean, testing.
Yeah, right. Well, okay,
Islands.
I live in like, well, probably one place that would be ground zero, because there's 2 national labs. And Los Alamos is just 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
But the Trinity site where they exploded Fat Boy, a bomb, it's opened twice a year, and we might try to go. It's opened in early April. one day, and they tell you, you go in your car and you kind of all drive in, and but one time on the way to Fort Worth, we drove right past. We didn't know it was a Trinity site. There's no big signs outside, and we drove up to a gate, and it was little signs, but we learned that's where they exploded the bomb, and so anyway, there's in my travels around the area, I definitely want to go to some of these Manhattan Project sites. There's a lot of them.
When you were up in Berkeley, Lawrence Livermore isn't that far.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And Eric used to work at the lab up there too. So another probably pinpointed place.
Well, San Diego's selling off all their military land, so
Mhm.
I don't know how much longer it'll be a target.
And I think in San Diego, do you still have a couple of aircraft carriers?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they're home ported here, but they aren't necessarily here. But they
Mhm.
got rid of the recruit depot. They got rid of a housing. They've gotten rid of several, bases.
Mhm.
But submarines are still here. But there used to be a couple of them.
Uh-huh.
So but they were, or they have moved the command center. Western Command was down here. They were supposedly moving it up
Uh-huh.
something. But why they closed NTC, I don't know. They closed the one in Orlando too, and then
Oh.
Great Lakes open.
Oh. Well, some of it's political,
Well,
I imagine.
political, I think.
Yeah.
Great Lakes, had a good senators talking for it. But why aren't the recruit centers on the coast, since that's where the Navy is?
Mhm. Right.
That when the Navy base moved out, a lot of little businesses went out of business.
Sure.
Uh-huh. Well, in Alameda, which is Bay Area, when they closed the bases there, lots of businesses actually did move. They it gave opportunity for other businesses to open. But I guess they had a long plan for all of that. And when I first moved to California, to San Francisco, I lived right near the Presidio, which was a base, so you weren't allowed on the property. And now, you can go there. It's now
Commercial.
it's city owned, or I think it's city owned. And so they've taken all those buildings and have done other things with them, including restaurants, but it's gorgeous. I mean, you could just go and look at the Golden Gate Bridge from there and see the water lapping onto the bay. And I mean, the whole time I lived there, I couldn't go there because it was closed off. So it's wild going there now, and they did a nice job with it.
Well, kiddies,
Yeah,
it's
past your bedtime.
5:30
Okay.
and counting.
I got to go feed Elvis.
Okay.
Normally I feed him before the meeting, but I was busy.
Oh,
Oh,
so
poor.
he's probably very hungry.
And he's waiting patiently. He's not barking or
Oh. All right. Bye.
All right,
Bye.
guys. See ya
see ya.
next week.